I think these were some very impressive videos. And what is very nice that for the coming discussion, the coming panel discussion, COVID could not stop us to get in direct contact with the people that just presented the videos. So we have here with us Anna, we have Stéphane, we have Richard, we have Tuija, we have also Tom, and we have Pedro. I'm very happy to see that a lot of questions, or at least quite some questions from the chat, are already coming in. And that means that I have a first question from the chat for Anna. Anna, are you online?
Yes,
okay,
Anna-Carin, I'm online.
Hello, great to meet you. Anna, there was a question from you coming from the chat saying, have you collected the feedback of farmers already about the operability of these services? So what is the feedback of the farmers that you got?
I've had the first preview of the project today, so it's still developing. So we are going to have 2 pilot groups during spring. So we haven't had any comments from the farmers yet, but we will have when we are testing it out.
Okay, but farmers are indeed your main focus point, or you're also addressing other stakeholders?
Yes, it's both for farmers and advisors. So we'll have both groups in the pilot.
Okay, thank you very much. Stéphane, a next question is for you. Welcome in our panel, first of all. The question that I got from you, maybe you already saw it in the chat, is what are the main difficulties you find to operators to use this new technology in tractors? Are your members easily adopting the new technology is, I think, the question.
Yes, you have to know that in CUMA, the responsible are most of the time volunteers. So they spend a lot of time with the administrative part, and it's really a burden for them. So the first promise of the salespeople of counters, connected counters, is forget your paper notebooks. So the adoption is quite easy. The first adoption is quite easy, but after they have to be how could I say that? They have to be they have to know how to use their Excel spreadsheet, for example. So the counters are very easy to stick on the material. You have just a magnetic system and you have a platform, but after you have to use the data, and that's the most complicated part indeed. So collecting data is easy, but using data is more complicated for them.
Mm-hmm. Can I summarize it that the lowering of administrative burden is convincing your members to step into it, but it's challenging in the next step to start working with the data, and that there we are a little bit also working on skills and supporting the farmers on how to use the data?
Yes, that's it. We at the moment we produced a sort of POC with Excel spreadsheets, and we are actually developing it with them. But it's still a POC, and we are planning to develop a real service for helping them. We want to develop a sort of decision supporting tool in the second time.
Okay, thank you very much. Richard, very nice to see you and to meet you again, although it's not in real life, but nice to see you. I know the 4D4F, besides a fantastic name, it was also a fantastic project. I have a question for you, a challenging one. The question is, did you look into cost-benefit analysis? So we are there with the question of the payback. And can you give some examples where you saw farmers taking up technology based on good cost-benefit analysis or reasonable payback times?
Yes, thanks, Jürgen. I think with all the dairy tech that's been used within Europe, it's largely been bought by the farmers for fertility. and there is a very easy way of determining how much benefit the farmers will get depending on their own circumstance, because it really replaced the 24-hour surveillance on cows, replaced the heat detection, and in technical work, you have a lot higher submission rates, a lot higher fertility rates using technology. So that is easy to quantify, and that is the driver for why a lot of farmers have taken up the systems. However, it is much more difficult to quantify the health benefits of this, because when you look at the benefits, 80% of the benefits for farmers is actually in recovery of milk that they would have lost had the cow been sick. And farmers don't see those costs. They only see the direct treatment costs and the milk they're throwing away. And so it is less easy to quantify that. And as far as benefits, it's very much a case of what are the issues on the individual farms, and which technology can we put in that addresses specifically the individual farm issues. So yeah, it's a very broad question, very difficult to actually come with a broad statement on any technology. You buy this and you will make this much money from buying this, because it is very much farm dependent.
In the framework of the goal of today, could you help us with some advices on how to make these benefits for the farmers, of which we know they are there, like you gave an example, but they don't see it yet? Do you have any ideas with your experience as well, being a farmer yourself, as being in the project? How should we address that?
Yeah, it's the benefits are from the farmers thing. It is how to use the data and how to make earlier and better decisions. So that is always the key, but also how to make your systems better. And you've got the ability with cloud-based systems to actually invite some advisors to look at the data for you, because what the farmers are seeing are alerts saying something's wrong. But a lot of the benefit from the system could actually be, how do we make things better, which is only slightly suboptimal. So in dairy, we look at the rumination rates, and also how do we get that to the perfect level, rather than just looking at an individual cow that is not performing very well at all. And that then leads to consultative approach by the advisors to the farms, who can actually access the data, which farmers often don't have the time to do, and come with solutions to that farm on how to make their management better.
All right, great. Tom, welcome in the panel. Nice to see you. We have a question from the chat for you. Can you elaborate on the perception that advisors now have towards digital tools, and how easy it is to transfer these tools towards advisors, and how they adopt them?
Yeah, I suppose, Jürgen, the perception is varied, because it's we're talking in general across the whole of Europe. So within the project, we have seen that there is a realization more and more among advisors that there is something happening in digital tools, and there's good examples from the sharing of experiences from between advisors through the platform in terms of how to do their own job better. But I suppose the main issues that they arise is the fact that a lot of digital information is held by the farmer and is not available to the advisor because of the systems that are there in place. And we've seen some really good examples where, for example, big data is shared through an agency access for advisors and veterinarians and others. So this is a really good means of collecting good data, but also of using the data. And I think we've been very successful at collecting a lot of data. We're not so successful at using that data and using it to its optimum. So I'd really, I suppose, come back to the example of the kind of industry-led initiative in Ireland through the Irish Cattle Breeding Federation, and how at the moment the whole of the industry is involved in the data collection, but also is enabled to use that data in their daily work. And advisors appreciate this because it means that you bring with you the reports from the system, and that enables you, it makes it easier than asking the farmer for reports and information over the phone, or trying to get access to information that's produced by systems.
Okay.
I suppose look at it, it is also bringing the level to another. The analysis and use of the data is bringing it to a very high level for advisors. So again, the need to be more specialized in the enterprise of the farm, in looking at and knowing what the information is saying and how to interpret it, I think is really important. So a big challenge there is in training of advisors in different systems, and it's particularly in how they can share data.
Okay, thank you very much. I would take because time is running. Tuija, I really liked your the movie you made, and also you have something I think that none of us was able to present in his movie. You have this cross-border collaboration with operational groups. Could you elaborate a little bit on that and convince us how that brings extra value to your initiative?
Thank you. So yeah, this has actually been unique in European level because Estonian operational group had it like mandatory during their call to include cross-border cooperation there. And we actually agreed to have cross-border cooperation with 2 different ape groups from Estonia. And I think in practice, it has been really working well. We have had face-to-face meetings and also remote meetings. And then our operational group did a field trip to Estonia. And I think it was also good for our operational group to build trust within the group. And it was nice to also the benchmark 2 different countries and what are the similarities and differences between the countries. So I think it has been really fruitful, and we have continued the cooperation after this, our SMARTFEED project. We have had new operational groups in both countries, and we also have currently Sustained Eranet project that we are also cooperating there. So
that's really great to hear. The workshop is about today is about increasing farm performances. With your solution, do you have an idea? Can you put a number or a value on how much farm performance you could create, and how well also it was taken up by farmers?
Yeah, of course, during doing our development work, we had piloting phases where we collected feedback from the farmers, and so I think the gains were that we could collect the instant feedback and then do further development. And also with this solution, our Pro-Agria Rural Advisory Services calculated that if you are, for example, feeding 5 percentage point too dry silage, then it could have like 400 to 500 euros extra costs for the farm. So you can really have economic benefits with using the system.
Great, because that is what we are looking for indeed. Jose, Pedro, or should I say Pedro or Jose? To be honest, I don't know. Okay, Jose then. Well, welcome in the panel. Also, I have a direct question for you from the panelists, from the participants. Have you also included soil or crop in field monitoring, and how do you connect that information if you have it with your tools, and how is it done?
Very well, thank you, and good morning. I think it's a great question. It gives me the opportunity to explain a little bit that we are not a service company. We are not selling this service. So we are a water utility, a public water utility, but with a mission of regional development. And so we're giving away this service for free. And we haven't included soil or crop monitoring because we have, well, an internal debate whether should we go further in this detailed analysis, because if we do, we became a competitor with the service companies that are already here on the region, selling doing their businesses. So, and we don't want to, well, we have an internal debate whether we should go into that detail or not. Another important thing is that we have very different farms here. So we are servicing around 120,000 hectares. We're irrigating 120,000 hectares with around 3,000 clients. But some of them have 1, 2, 3, 5,000 hectares under management, and some have 3 hectares under management. And so completely different realities. So the large ones, they have their own agronomists, they have their own technical staff, they have their own systems, they have their own companies giving technical advice to them. They're completely independent, and they just use our portal as a way to get detailed weather forecasting, for example. A smaller farmer, in the other way, does not have all that support, does not have an agronomist, dedicated agronomist, and so he needs advice whether how much water should I put tomorrow on my crop, and there our portal is very efficient in that. But so I think it's crop and soil monitoring will be a way to go. I think my personal dream is to have a lot of these sensors and shared in the specific or more representative crops, and share that data with everyone.
Okay,
So,
I think it's.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you. So actually, you're a great example of combining public information, public data, with private data or with farm data from the farmer, business data. So that's very nice, and also very good that you come with your personal dreams to our workshop. That is.
Sorry, I haven't answered how do we integrate with the satellite information, for example?
Yeah, do it very quickly, please, because I want
we
to
have,
do one last
for example,
question.
Sentinel Hub, for example, the information is there available for everyone. What to provide is well, a filtered way for each farmer to have its own map, because it's not easy. We've been discussing about using the data, right? Mm-hmm. And if you have if your own window to your own farm, then it's easy. You have the NDVA, the intensity of the photosynthesis, all that information for your own crop, and we just provide that filter and that zoom for your own farm.
Okay, I have one last question, and the person who takes the floor can answer it as the first one, because I like it a lot, and it's a little bit a more technical one. It's somebody saying in the chat, yeah, we see a lot of very great applications with the data, but does anybody think about also how to control the data, how to bring in security to the data, and do we do that by design? Is anybody in his project wanting to comment on that one very quickly?
I can possibly comment, Jürgen, in that it's important that farmers benefit from the value of the data. They own the data, and they need a trusted partner, really, who the farmers don't have time to go out and market it. So if they have a trusted partner who they can who they tell what they are happy there for their data to go with, and that partner can then be a go-to place for companies who want to buy that data to develop products and things. That has to be a good way to go. We can't have 101 different companies going to 101 different farmers each time they want to develop something. It would be a big barrier for developing new systems, but it's also a way that farmers can benefit from the data that they have paid for in buying the technology in the first place.
Okay, that is an answer to one part of the control, how to give control to the farmer, but also did anybody specifically work on security of his applications? at this moment. So Jose,
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so
go ahead.
yeah, I can just quickly comment that we included in our application this user control, so that with the user control only those who have access to or have the user information can access to it. And with this, then you can, for example, within the farm, give the user information to their own advisor and farm employees. So then they can share the data within the application, but then prevent from others to see it.
Okay, thank you. I think with this last comment, we really kicked it off. I think this was a very interesting discussion. I would really like to continue this one, but we can do it after in the breakout rooms. So I will go back to Alben now.